I think he could be my nap for the entire week at Aintree this upcoming weekend, guys. And welcome back to the channel. The Cheltenham Countdown channel is back from the mini break I had post the Cheltenham Festival just over 3 weeks ago. I've had a little break. I've had a little mini vacation since the Cheltenham Festival's finished. Obviously, we all love it so much. We needed a break from all the highs and lows of the entire 4 days at Presby Park that week. And there's no more Cheltenham races at all this season, though, guys. The race course has obviously cancelled its last 2 meetings of the season. So instead of previewing a Cheltenham meeting, an April meeting, or a Hunters Chase meeting in May, I am now swaying on towards previewing the UK Grand National meeting at Aintree this upcoming week. I can't wait for it, guys. I love the National, of course, as you all do. It's one of the best race meetings in the entire world. And I'm going to preview the majority of the Grade 1 races and a couple of tips and best bets along the way at Aintree this upcoming week. But I will also review, obviously we have had the Cheltenham Festival, obviously last 3 weeks ago, as I said. I'm going to review all the Grade 1 races we had there at that meeting, just have a touch on them and see where these horses can go for next season or beyond. There were a few standout performances, of course, and I just want to touch on them with a quick fire review, like I said, of all the Grade 1 races at the Cheltenham Festival. So if this is the first time you've watched my video, guys, and like it, just give it a thumbs up, give it a comment underneath to say what you've enjoyed about the videos. And obviously give me your Grand National selection. I'm going to pin a comment to the video. Comment below your 2026 Grand National selection in the comments underneath this video. There will be 34 runners come the day of the Grand National, and I want to know who you're siding with at Aintree on Saturday. So other than that, just going to watch the video, share the video if you want to, again, with your family and friends, as you always do, guys. And don't forget to subscribe to the Cheltenham Countdown channel for more content like this from this season and obviously for beyond for next season as well. I will be continuing with the podcast as long as I can up for the future to see how far we can go. And obviously every year we'll be building up to the Cheltenham Festival every year, guys. So we're going to crack on now with a review of the day 1 of the festival this year with the Supreme, the Arkle and the Champion Hurdle, and then we'll go on to day 2 and as follows from then on. Yeah, kicking off with the review of the 2026 Supreme Novices Hurdle at the Cheltenham Festival. The winner was All Park Star, as we know, for Nico de Boinville and Nicky Henderson. Then you had Sober Glory in second, My Daddy Paddy in third, Baron Noir in fourth for Tom Bellamy and Alan King, and then you had the first of the remaining Irish horses in the race, including El Kairos and Too Bossy for us for Paul Townend and Willie Mullins. But it was a clean sweep for the UK trainers and horses, guys. I really thought All Park Star was brilliant in the race, as was Sober Glory, and My Daddy Paddy was a bit unlucky. So you can upgrade the front 3 in the market in the race, I feel, guys. The top 3 in the race in All Park Star, Sober Glory, and My Daddy Paddy are quite good horses, I feel. We've obviously heard since the festival with interviews and some stable mentions since the race that All Park Star is probably going to be in line for an Arkle tilt next season, so we'll see him over fences at the start of next season, which will be very, very interesting. Very, very looking forward to seeing that. Sober Glory may still remain over hurdles, as Philip Hobbs and Johnson White have outlined as well. I mean, they were unlucky, just didn't jump the last in the Supreme that well, but they were tanking along. They were really running a good race in the Supreme this year and got very, very unlucky not to win. And My Daddy Paddy has been mentioned by Dan Skelton to be going over fences as well next season, so he could be in line for an Arkle tilt as well for the Skeltons. That may be an interesting battle with All Park Star and My Daddy Paddy banging heads against each other. Hopefully we see them early on in a graded race before the festival next season, so we can have a bit of a pecking order as to who may be the best of the UK horses in the Arkle next season. And for the remainder, I don't think I saw anyone outstanding from the rest of the field. I was disappointed in Mighty Park for JP McManus and Willie Mullins. Very disappointed in him. Maybe El Kairos had even a bit more closer to the pace, could have had a better result, but you take nothing away from the front 3 in the race, guys. All Park Star was brilliant. Sober Glory ran his race to perfection bar the last hurdle, and My Daddy Paddy just was squeezed after the last. So again, you can upgrade all 3 of them. I think they're very 3 smart horses, and we'll see them all next season without a shadow of doubt in some graded races for next season and beyond. So yeah, review of the Supreme. All Park Star will go to the Arkle next season for sure. Sober Glory could be a champion hurdle horse. There may be a path in that division for him next season. And obviously My Daddy Paddy will continue to go over fences as well next season, and hopefully go head to head with Old Park Star. Then we had the Arkle Novices Chase, guys, and I thought this was a very intriguing battle, well, an intriguing race to be fair. The market was shaping up as a battle between Kopek de Bod and Lulamba. Lulamba did go off favourite in the end, guys, but it turned out to be a good three-way battle coming up to the second last, of course, with the mare Cargeese, the battle-hardened mare in Cargeese for Willie Mullins, ridden by Danny Mullins on the day. I just thought that the only reason Kopek de Bod didn't go on and win the race after the second last, of course, was the fact that he wasn't match fit, if you know what I mean. He wasn't race fit on the day. He only had one chase start, one start of offences throughout the whole season, which was back in November, pre-November. And had he had a race without the setback he had earlier in the season, he may have stood a chance to go past Cargeese after the last. But he didn't. The battle-hardened mare, the good mare that Cargeese is, won the Arkle. Obviously, she was a county hurdle winner last year as well. So she's a very fine mare, very top hardy mare. I'm guessing those two horses in Cargeese and Kopek de Bod will head towards. I'll have a tilt towards the champion chase for next season, with Lulamba maybe being outlined for a higher going up in trip, a higher trip for him. He just didn't seem to be quick enough over 2 miles, especially at Cheltenham. Obviously, he lost the Triumph Hurdle last season as well, and obviously he didn't win the Arkle this time around. Maybe stepping him up in trip would be better for Lulamba. I think Nicky Henderson has hinted on that, and obviously he is going to run an Aintree this week as well in the Manifesto Novices Chase, so that could be interesting as well. Nonetheless, I think they're three very smart horses going forward with. Cargeese, the mare, will get if she is to go to the champion chase again next season, will get the mare's allowance. Kopek de Bod is an out-and-out 2-miler, as we know. He's a very good horse. Had he been in the champion hurdle this year, he may have been very close in that race as well. He didn't. He will continue to go over fences probably as well. And Lulamba is a very good horse. He's a very talented horse in his own right as well. So 3 good horses to follow again for next season. And I think they'll be winning more races, more graded races between them without a shadow of a doubt. So in a nutshell, a quick fire review of the Arkle. Cargeese won, in my opinion, because of the fact she was a battle-hardened mare. She had a lot more races under her belt this season. Had Kopek de Bod had another, maybe 1 or 2 races under his belt before the Arkle, he may have won on the day, and Lulamba needs to go up in trip. That's all that matters in the Arkle this year. But a very, very good battle it was nonetheless. Then we move on to the feature race of day 1, which was the Unibet Champion Hurdle, run over 2 miles on the old course, obviously. And I did tweet early on before the day, guys. Well, on the day before the race started, that I had no hope. There was no hope the New Lion was going to win the Champion Hurdle this year, in my opinion. Purely, he was not going to give £7 to Lossiemouth and £7 to Brighter Days Ahead as well. So in combination, he was not going to give these 2 top-class mares £7 each and win the race. It was just not going to happen. They're far too good to be given that much weight to, and obviously it proved on the day in the race. Lossiemouth was an absolute brilliant winner in the race. Phenomenal horse that she is. She's never lost at the Cheltenham Festival in her career so far, and she's an absolute legend already. She could easily go around again next season and do it all again, which hopefully will be the case. Brighter Days Ahead ran creditably as well. She's a very good mare in her own right. I'm intrigued to know what Gordon will do with her for next season. Obviously, she is to run in the Aintree Hurdle this week at the Grand National meeting against the New Lion again, so that could be interesting. That could be a matchup we look forward to. But on the Champion Hurdle race itself, I thought Lossiemouth was an absolute standout. I'm glad she ran in the race. She deserved to run in the race and win the race as well. Paul Townend rode it to perfection with calm, composure, and ease. And obviously Jack Kennedy just couldn't have the gears to pass her coming up the hill. So, in a small little summary, Lossiemouth was probably the best winner of day 1 without a shadow of a doubt. Brighter Days Ahead ran her race, ran good in her own right to finish second, and the New Lion just didn't have the gears, didn't have the pace, or maybe the class to pass these 2 outstanding mares at the moment in his career. So I just think these 2 mares are standouts. We're lucky to have them both in the same race together, in the same era together. They've battled against each other so many times. They've banged heads against each other at Leopardstown in the Irish Champion Hurdle and at Christmas. I know they've banged heads against each other in the Champion Hurdle at Cheltenham. Maybe that's the last we see of them against each other. Perhaps we don't, but we'll wait and see on that front. But nonetheless, I'm so relieved she ran and lost what ran in the champion hurdle this year. She deserved to. She had the quality to. She has the class to. And again, we'll see her again next season in the race without a shadow of a doubt. I think she's the Antipode's favourite at the moment, guys, at roughly 3-1, maybe 7-2 at the moment, which is interesting price for the time being. She's the rightful favourite for the time being. Whether we see something come out early on next season or after Aintree remains to be seen, but she's the well-deserved favourite at the time being. So she's never lost to the Cheltenham Festival, guys. She's won the Triumph Hurdle, 2 Mares Hurdles, and now a Champion Hurdle. She's an absolute Cheltenham legend, and we are lucky to have her in this era at the moment of national hunt racing. So that's a quick summary. The front 3 in the race were the best 3 in the race, but the front 2 in the race were better than the New Lion, obviously, because they had not only the Mares and Owens, they are better horses than the New Lion. So that's just my quick summary of this year's Champion Hurdle, guys. On to day 2, and obviously the first Grade 1 of the second day at the festival was the Turners Novices Hurdle, run over 2 miles and 5 furlongs, won by King Rascal Grey for Paul Townend and Willie Mullins in the colours, in the same silks as the legend Galopin Des Champs. He went off 11-1, guys, which was very surprising before the off. I did think that price was a bit too big for him to let go. If you were on him, that was a very good time to be on King Rascal Grey on the horse in the market. He won really well, of course. He could go further. I think he could definitely go over a further distance, higher up in trip. I mean, that was run over 2 miles, 5 furlongs, and he looked like he could have had a lot more distance to run in as well. He did stay very well. He beat Active Innocence in second on the day, who's probably a bit more of a speedier type than King Rascal Grey, but just didn't have. He was no match for the winner after the last. Just didn't have the stamina to get past King Rascal Grey. And I'd expect King Rascal Grey to potentially go over fences next season. He could really be one over a longer trip. And in time as well, could really be one that we look forward to in time as one of a staying chaser in the future. But who knows what Willie Mullins will do with him. And of the rest in the race, there was one horse that pulled up and never got going in the race itself, guys, which was no drama this end for Harry Cobden and Paul Nicholls. Never got going from the start. Never had a good position from the get-go, and obviously was tailing from the long way out. So just to start, the Cheltenham was a bit of a farce, because we all know. But moving away from that, he was one that didn't get the luck, the rub of the green from the start, and obviously that cost him at the end of the race. So he went off favourite at 5-2. I wouldn't give up on the horse. He is a good horse and will be a better chaser than Hurdler. By just in the start, the Cheltenham did cost him a lot in the Turners this year. But nonetheless, it was to take nothing away from the winner in King Rascal Grey. He won really well for connections for Paul Townend and Willie Mullins, like I said, and is a deserved Grade 1 winner at last. So I think in time we'll see some good novice chasers and staying chasers from this field, including the winner, including no drama this end. There's a couple of in there that I like as well. I wouldn't give up on, such as Ballyfad or Sortudo. They are good horses in their own right. They just need to be winning bigger races and more sort of classier races in the future. But that's a quick summary of the first Grade 1 on the second day of the Turners. After that, we had the Brown Advisory Novices Chase, another Grade 1. This time for novice chasers, over 3 miles on the old course. The winner was Kitspool, of course, for this time for Harry Cobden, but again for Willie Mullins. He beat Final Demand by 3/4 of a length at the end. 2 very good horses again, I think they are. Kitspool potentially, after his win at Kempton earlier this season in the Koto Star, could be a well-touted King George type this season, I feel. I think he's second favourite in the race, in the market for that race, particularly on Boxing Day this year. He could really be one for that race, I feel. I think he's tailor-made for the King George this year. Willie Mullins might have some other ideas. I mean, he has a lot of staying chasers that can go over different trips, over different courses, so he may separate a few, but I think Kitspool is a standard for King George tilt this year. I just wanted to get that in, guys. Final Demand, I wasn't a fan of his, but I actually did get impressed from the way he ran his race in the Brown Advisory in Cheltenham Festival week. I mean, after his race at Leopardstown behind KDO, people would have given up on him, including myself. I don't think he was a Gold Cup winner in the making. I can't see him winning a Gold Cup, in my opinion, guys. But I can see him winning more different types of Grade 1 races in the future, just not the Gold Cup. I mean, he could be a type for an Irish Gold Cup, or some of the races in Ireland, such as the Savile Chase. A 3-mile chase in Ireland could be right up his street. I just don't think at Cheltenham we'll see the best of him if it's the Gold Cup they tend to go for next season. I just don't think he's a Cheltenham horse that can win a Gold Cup. That's just my opinion. Nonetheless, he's run a very good race in this year's Browns for Paul Townend, and just got touched off, like I said, by Kitzbühel. Others in the race to take note of, well, maybe not to take note of as well, was Romeo Coolio, who got pulled up for Jack Kennedy and Gordon Elliott. Again, similar to Final Demand, I just don't think he's a Cheltenham horse, guys. I don't think the track and undulations and tight and the corners and long straights do suit him that well. He's definitely a 2.5 miler. I mean, he's not a 2 miler because he didn't run in the Arkle. I don't think he's a 3 miler, obviously because he didn't win the Brown Advisory. His trip is 2.5, but I don't think it's at Cheltenham as well. So we just need to see where Gordon Elliott pitches him in next season, because he's a very talented horse. He's won numerous Grade 1s this season in Ireland, but I just don't think he's a Cheltenham type that can win at the Cheltenham Festival. That's just my honest opinion, guys. I did like the run of Oscar's brother and Salva. They'd run really well Salva finished third, Oscar's brother finished fourth. I did think Oscar's brother was a very good candidate for an Irish Grand National. Obviously, he didn't run over the weekend. He is going to be running in the UK Grand National, we think, this weekend. I think he's a very good type for a longer trip. So Oscar's brother, take note of him. He could be a very good staying long chaser in the future. And the rest were probably much as they didn't really run their races. The likes of Cocktail Divan, who was touted for a Jack Richards. He didn't run in that race. He ran here. For Darragh O'Keefe and Henry Bromhead, finished 6th. I just didn't think he's in the same class as the others. The Big Western though got withdrawn before the race, guys. She got taken up due to the ground, the quick ground. She got taken up because of that. So we didn't see her run her race, the mare, in the Brown Advisory this year. But I don't think it would have made much of a difference. The William Ellis pair in Kitzbühel and Final Demand were the best two on the day in the Brown Advisory at Cheltenham. Then we had the Queen Mother Champion Chase, and wow, guys, wow, what can you say about some of the horses in this race? I mean, if some disappointed you in others, some would have disappointed you, including the likes of Madgeborough. I won't get onto him first. We deserve to get onto the winner. Eilert Tomp, stand-up performance from Paul Townend, trained by William Mullins again. Smooth race, smooth headway, no trouble at all within the race. Apart maybe from the jump in the last, where he did pitch on landing, but was never in danger of losing that race after coming around the bend, coming up to the second last, and then after the last. The best horse in the race, absolutely won by 10 lengths in the end from Liberty Hunter in second. Lourdes Hood finished third. But he'll let it on. What can you say about him? He's had a wonderful season, winning the Tingle Creek, of course. Now a champion chaser. He's a deserved champion chaser. We crab him a lot, but he's a deserved winner at the Cheltenham Festival in a 2-mile championship race. Fair play to the horse. Fair play to Paul Townend, and fair play to William Mullins again. I just want to touch on a few as well, guys. I have to touch on Madgeborough. I can't go without touching Madgeborough. Another odds-on favourite loses in the champion chase at the festival. This one was a bit of a... You could see it coming a long way out. He was just jumping so on and off, hot and cold. I mean, he really took the lead after the second fence. He didn't jump off well. He didn't jump the first well. Then wanted to get into the lead. Got keen to take into the lead. Jumped the second okay, and then from then on, it was just hot and cold. He was heart in your mouth stuff if you had backed him on the day or anti-push, guys. He just wasn't fluent, wasn't in the rhythm, and ultimately the mistakes were going to come. And the third last was just the culmination of a bad run of jumping from Madgeborough, and you could see it coming on the way out. I wonder what they do with him. I mean, some have said put him up in trip, take him up in higher distance to settle a bit better, relax his jumping, maybe 2.5 in the Ryanair division next season perhaps. Maybe hurdling is his option, maybe going back over hurdles is his option. He's not going to be winning a champion chase ever, guys. We just got to get that in mind, that in our heads. I'm not a biggest fan of him anymore. I was one of his top fans as a novice chaser. Since then, he has massively disappointed me. But you can't take nothing away from Eilert Tomp, of course. He deserved the win, is an outstanding 2-mile and a versatile horse in his own right. I mean, he's won over 2-mile 60, won over 2.5. He's now a winner of a 2-mile champion chase, and he's an outstanding horse. Lourdes Hood finished third. He didn't do much wrong in the race, just wasn't in the same class on the day as the winner. And ultimately, the Skeltons would admirably say that they aren't in the same league as Eilert Tomp. So that's all I can say about the champion chase, guys. It was a deserved outright winner from one horse on the day and the best horse on the day. The best horse in the season in the division, perhaps, Il Et First grade one of the third day, on the Thursday on the new course, was won by Woodhoo in the mare's hurdle over 2.5 miles. And boy oh boy, did Gordon Elliott need a winner in the week, of course. Jack Kennedy rode the horse, rode her, I should say, to perfection. No trouble throughout, jumped really well. No issue with her jumping, no issue with her travelling. She's a classy individual. She's one of the best jumpers of a hurdle I've seen in a while, guys. Obviously, we've had some good hurdlers in their own right, but she doesn't do much wrong. She never falls. She hardly ever does mistakes. She's always doing the right amount of jumping at the right time. Jack Kennedy and her are a good combination together, and there was no trouble at all throughout the race where you thought she wasn't going to win. Like I said, Gordon Elliott needed a winner throughout the week. He did struggle throughout the week, but a deserved mare's hurdle winner, 4 connections on himself. She beat Jade Agrugi by a length in the end. Could have won by more. She was always doing enough come the end. I'd say I think she's in the Liverpool hurdle in the weekend, guys. It would have been entered in the Liverpool hurdle at the national meeting. That's over 3 months. That's very interesting what they do with her next season. If she's to win that or run well in that, you'd consider then she may be a Stayers hurdle type for next season, or she may go else. She may run in a different race than the mare's hurdle. We'll have to wait and see. But there's a long time between now and next year at the festival, and Woodrow could easily be running in a different race rather than the mare's hurdle next year. But she's a classy mare. Take nothing away from the winner, and Jack Kennedy rode her to perfection. I can't find any other horses in the race that I can take note of. Maybe the horse in second, Jade Agrugi, but that's an easy pickup because she ran well. She could be she's tried over fences, hasn't worked out for her. So I'd say if Woodhoo doesn't run in the mare's hurdle next season, then Jade Agrugi could be one that you pick out as a potential shot. But there's a long time between now and then. We'll see who develops from their mare's novice hurdle campaign into open company next season. But for now, the top two, Woodhoo and Jade Agrugi, are smart mares, but Woodhoo is a class apart. There was the Paddy Power Stayers hurdle over just under 3 miles, of course. A championship race on day 3, the Paddy Power Stayers hurdle, won by an 11-year-old and home by the lead. What a mess of a race this was, guys. I couldn't believe the finish we had in this absolute carnage of a race, I thought it was. I mean, Home by the Lead was the winner at 33-1. If you picked him out, then fair play to you. He was not on my radar at all throughout the whole weekend, and especially in this race. Ballyburn finished second for Paul Townend and William Mullins again. Obviously, has picked out an injury. He's picked up a very bad knock after the race. He's going to be out for the rest of this season and the whole of next season. So he's out for a long time as Ballyburn, which is a bit of a shame because he's run an absolute brilliant race. So shame on Ballyburn, but hopefully we see him back as a 9-year-old or maybe a 10-year-old if he's back by then, as sometime racing again, hopefully. Bob Ollinger, another 11-year-old, finished third at Cheltenham. So he didn't do much wrong in the race. He does run his races at Cheltenham very well. I didn't think he was going to win the race at any point, but he did his best that he could as an 11-year-old. It wasn't going to be his day in this race. Cabral du Martin finished fourth. Didn't stay whatsoever. You could see him up the hill. He was really crawling up that hill after the last. He just didn't have the legs to carry on going after the last hill. So it doesn't stay 3 miles, as we know. Honesty Policy finished fifth. Tihupu finished sixth. I was really disappointed in Tihupu for Gordon Elliott again, who had a bad week, obviously, with the one winner that he had in Woodhoo. Jack Kennedy couldn't do much more for Tihupu. Obviously, the ground wasn't in his favour, but no excuses. I mean, he has won a good off before. I was surprised with how bad he ran and disappointed with Tihupu's result. Hewick finished 7th, Marchand 8th, and the rest pulled up in Doddy the Great and Impose Trois. So I wouldn't have if you would have asked me 10 times, maybe 100 times who would have won this race, I wouldn't have given you the right answer in Home by the Lee. I just did not expect him to win this race whatsoever. And surprise, surprise, it was a massive shock in the race in the Stayers Hurdle once again. We've had a lot of shocks in the Stayers Hurdle before. This is definitely another one. 4 o'clock on the Thursday of the festival was the Ryanair Chase. We had the Festival Trophy Ryanair Chase over 2.5 miles on 4 o'clock on the Thursday. Hartwood was the winner for Darragh O'Keefe and Henry de Bromhead, and really was a very emphatic winner on the day. Very impressed with how he finished his race. Won by 10 lengths from John Bon in second. John Bon again, come on to him in a bit, but he's never finished outside the top 2 of that horse. He's a remarkable legend of a horse. Hartwood was the winner. John Bunn in second, Bambridge finished third from GPR1, Matata, Master Chewy and Imperial Pass pulled up. But Hartwood, first of all, I think it was an absolute brilliant win on the day. Now, I don't know what they're going to do with this horse going forward. I think he could be. I think he could stay 3 miles. I'm not sure if connections think the same, but they. He was a very good. He's a very good 2.5 miler. He could easily come to this race again next season, or they could step him up and trip and try out over 3 miles first. But I think they could do a lot with this. He's going to have a lot of fun with Hartwood. He's only an 8-year-old still, and decisively won the Ryanair Chase in emphatic fashion this year. So well done to Rob Core, Darryl O'Keefe and trainer Henry de Bromhead. Moving on to John Bond, finished second again. Second 4 times at the festival he's finished. Remarkable horse, just hasn't got his head in front ever at the festival, which is a bit of a shame because he is such a legend. We want him to have this festival victory, but at 10 years old, I think he's had his chance now, and he won't be winning ever at the Cheltenham Festival, which is a bit of a shame because, like I said, he is an owner's dream to have. So John Bond finishing second in the Ryanair, never finished outside the top 2 in all his career starts, but it won't be the last we see of John Bond elsewhere other than Cheltenham. Bambridge in third, just wasn't his day on the ground. Well, I expected more from him on the ground, I should say. Sean Bowen rode him on Joseph O'Brien's horse. Bambridge was running at Aintree again this weekend, so expected more from him, but as a 10-year-old as well, he's not in the same class as John Bond, and definitely wasn't in the same class on the day as Hartwood. That's probably it I can take out from the race in the Ryanair, guys. Imperial Pass pulled up, wouldn't have expected, but he hadn't had a run for a while as well. But he's obviously come back to Aintree this weekend, which will suit him far better on a flat track. I'd expect more from him at Aintree this weekend. But take nothing away from Hartwood and John Bond in second. They're 2 admirable horses. Ran credibly very well on the day. But the winner was only one winner that came from it, and it was Hartwood by 10 lengths in this year's Ryanair Chase. Obviously, Gold Cup Day started off with the first Grade 1 on the card, the JCB Triumph Hurdle for juveniles over 2 miles, won by a 50-1 shot in Apollon de Charny for the Mullins team again. Patrick Mullins on board this time. Won at 50-1, like I said. Wouldn't have picked him out whatsoever. An absolute shock on the cards once again. But the 3 of the front 4 that finished the race, in Maestro Conti in second, Manella Study in third, and Selma de Veri in fourth, are all facing each other again at Aintree this weekend in a respective juvenile hurdle there. So that'll be interesting to see who the pecking order is from those 3, because they are very 3 smart horses, those 3 juveniles, and I'd expect a very good race between them 3 at Aintree this weekend. The winner, Apollon de Charny, I don't know what you do with him. I mean, you could do a lot. You could go any route. I mean, you could try going over fences next season. You could stick over hurdles. And the 5-year-olds will have a very good record at the Cheltenham Festival next year, so I don't know what they will decide to do with Apollon de Charny. They will do something with him because he's a Triumph Hurdle winner now, and you want to keep them and have a lot of fun with them as much as you can. Others in the race to take note of: Proactive finished 9th for Mark Walsh and Willie Mullins. He won at Ferryhouse yesterday, of course, on Irish Grand National Day, so he's one to keep on side. Maybe over fences next season or over a hurdle. Over a hurdle campaign if that's what they decide to do. The rest I can't really make a case for, or can't really find notes to describe and to explain about what they can do with them for next season, guys. So what I can say is the 3 of the front 4 in Maestro Conti, Manella Study and Selma de Veri, like I said, are very smart and ones to keep on side for next season. I really like Selma de Veri's mark potentially for a county hurdle tilt next season, as many people have put up. I think she's 138 at the moment, which may change after her run at Aintree this weekend. Maestro Conti, the Skelton's love, and Manella Study is a trainer's, the connections is best horse in their stable as well. So very good 3 horses there to keep on side for next season in Maestro Conti, Manella Study, and Selma de Veri, the mare, for Willie Mullins. But the winner was Apollon de Charny for Patrick Mullins, and again, Willie Mullins. The Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle, the next Grade 1 on the final day of the festival. Run over just shy of 3 miles on the new course. And again, more shocks, more upsets in the races at the festival this year. Won by Johnny's Jury for Gavin Sheehan and Jamie Snowden at 20-1. In second place was Fruit de Mer for Sean Flanagan and Henry de Bromhead at 28-1. The Passing Boy finished third for 11-1 for Gavin Cromwell, and Mondui Boy was fourth for Ben Jones and Ben Pony at 14-1. A lot of big prices at the top, who finished the top first 4 in the race, guys. So big prices, big shocks. the Battle is always a hard race every year to get a handle of. You always have to go, well, try and tend to go for a big price, because there are a lot of shocks in this race that have appeared, and this was another one this year. The favourite in Dr. Steinberg pulled up. The 9-4 favourite for Paul Town and Willie Mullins pulled up. Just was too keen, too headstrong to begin with, and pulled up before the last. But there was big prices galore. I mean, in fifth place was Spinning Yarn at 12-1, then Cryptic Jim, who I fancied, at 22-1, and then Upa Tuba for Ben Soto and Ollie Murphy finished at 40-1 in cents. So the prices just kept on coming. The longer prices kept on coming in the race, and you always need to side with a big price in a lot of a battle, because there are upsets and shocks galore. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with these horses at the front of the race. I haven't seen the stable mentions from Jamie Snowden for Johnny's Jury, or even Henry Bromhead for Fruit de Mer. But we wait to see. There could be some novice chasers in line for next season. Some longer, or maybe staying novice chasers for next season. But we'll have to wait and see. I can't really say what for definite, for sure, what's going to be happening with these novice hurdlers for next season. But we'll wait to see. But like I said, the battle is always a minefield, and this year was no different. We end the review for the Grade 1s of the Cheltenham Festival this year with obviously the blue ribboned race of the entire week, the Boodles Cheltenham Gold Cup over 3 miles and a quarter. And probably the performance of the entire week was the winner in Gaelic Warrior, won by 8 lengths in a Gold Cup, ahead of Django Bay in second. I know the way you're thinking the reigning hero, well, who was the Gold Cup hero from last year in third, finished 10 lengths behind Gaelic Warrior. Then Great Owning, Long Press, Firefox, and the rest just were tailing in his wake, because Gaelic Warrior, Paul Town and Willie Mullins, it was their week again. Connections this week won the Champion Hurdle with Lossiemouth. They won the Gold Cup with Gaelic Warrior. Without a shadow of a doubt, the best performance of the week, and it came in the Gold Cup, guys. I just couldn't believe how far, and on the bridle, how far Gaelic Warrior was tanking along. No trouble whatsoever. The best thing that happened to him was for other horses to take the lead, so he could settle in behind. The only thing I'm surprised about is how he didn't win the King George last season on Boxing Day. That's my only issue. But we move on from that. Gaelic Warrior, an 8-year-old, a fantastic win of a Gold Cup. Could have easily gone round again. Could have easily had another circuit under his belt and gone round again on the day. It was that convincing, that easy for him, and won on the bridle, which I've never seen before in a Gold Cup in my lifetime. But, you know, the records are there to be broken, and to witness some greatness at the festival is another thing. What I can take from it, apparently Haiti Kuro never travelled for Sean Bowen. Sean Bowen wasn't happy the way he travelled in the race, although he was leading for the majority of the contest, just never really travelled. The Jukebox Man apparently had something wrong with his breathing up until the race. Had to have a tweak with his breathing. The rest just were trailing in Gaelic Warriors' wake, like I said. The only sad bit about the race was obviously the passing of a legend in Envoy Island, a 12-year-old that was going to go to retirement after the Gold Cup this year. Sadly, will not get his retirement because he was put down after the race, after the contest, which is a very sad thing to hear for Connections in Envoy Island. Connections' thoughts are all in our minds after the race, and will continue to be so, because he was an absolute Cheltenham Festival legend as well as Envoy Island, winner of the bumper, winner of a Turners, winner of a Ryanair chase as well. He was an absolute Cheltenham legend, and will sorely be missed by Connections and all of us, the racing community. So that's the only sad thing about it, of the Gold Cup, is that we didn't get to hear that Envoy Island was going to go into retirement. But may his thoughts be with Connections after the race and continue to be so. But Gaelic Warrior, the winner of the Gold Cup this year, a fantastic winner, won on the bridle, which we've never seen before, like I said, and next year will be interesting how he separates him, Factophile, the other superstars in his stable, such as Kitzbühel, like I mentioned earlier. Final Demand could probably be in the mix as well. If they decide to retire Galopin Des Champs, which I'm sure they're going to imminently do, I think, not far off, that'll be interesting as well. But there's so many stars in his stable with Willie Mullins. He could dominate for more years to come. But he did dominate this year's festival. He won the Champion Hill, the Champion Chase, and the Gold Cup. He's just a force to be reckoned with. The maestro that is Willie Mullins. The legend Paul Townend, winner of 5 Gold Cups now. The most by any other jockey in history. We are witnessing greatness, guys. And I think it's just fitting that a brilliant winner of the Gold Cup gave the best jockey probably in the race's history and the best trainer in the race's history their best ever win. Then guys, here are my tips and best bets. As I promised at the start of the video, I'm now going to move forward towards the Aintree Grand National meeting this weekend on Thursday, Friday and Saturday. And I'll touch on I'll only touch on the best bets and the tips I've selected in the selected races I wanted to have a bet in. I will kick things off on Thursday with 4 tips. I got 4 tips on Thursday that I do quite like. Maybe some are short prices than you'd hope. Maybe a couple at a bigger price later on in the week. But on Thursday, like I said, I got 4. Started off with the 4-year-old juvenile hurdle, the opening race of the entire meeting on the card at Aintree on Thursday. Selma De Veri is the horse I think that will get the better of Maestro Conti and Manila Study in that Grade 1. I think with Paul Town in the saddle, she claims the mare's allowance. I think it's only £3 you get in a juvenile race, but nonetheless, she gets a bit of mare's allowance from the other geldings in the race. Paul Town, a rider, he's won the race a couple of times with Mercier in the past and a few others. I think Selma De Veri is going to win this race, the opening race of the entire meeting this weekend. We move then on to the Manifesto Novices Chase, the next race on the card at Aintree on Thursday. And again, another short price, but I really like Lulamba. I think he will win this Novices Chase, a Grade 1, en route to potentially going over further up in trip next season in open company. So Lulamba will be my pick in the Manifesto. In the Aintree hurdle at 4 o'clock, I think it is on Thursday, I'm going to side with the Bright Days Ahead to beat the New Lion and everyone else in that race. I think she's a better horse on a flat track rather than Cheltenham personally. I think she will continue to uphold the form with the New Lion and she will win the Aintree hurdle. And one race in a handicap on Thursday I quite like is in the Red Rum handicap chase at 4:40 on Thursday. It's going to be Highlands Legacy I like for the John Joe O'Neill and John Joe O'Neill Jr. who I think takes the ride. This horse has had a decent season to be fair. Started off in October winning at Worcester in a Class 4 handicap chase. Then stepped up to run at Aintree over at this course in November. Over 2 miles, just shy of 2 miles. Finished second, being a well-touted horse that day. Then went to Newbury, finished second again, being another well-touted horse, and then won at Windsor in the Winter Millions weekend at Windsor in January. He's finished being some smart horses in like some Mighty Bandit and co. They've obviously progressed further this season. I think Highlands Legacy is another progressive horse that will take the beating in the Red Rum handicap chase on Thursday. So they're my 4 in the opening day of the meeting. Selma De Veri, Lulamba, Brighter Days Ahead and Highlands Legacy. Friday I have 1 tip from Aintree that I really like. It's in the Melling Chase, over 2 miles and 3 furlongs. And it's a winner from the Cheltenham Festival I think will reappear and win again at Aintree this weekend. It's going to be Hartwood who won the Rhino again at the festival. I think he'll bounce back on and win the Melling Chase, like I said, at Aintree on Friday. So that's my only tip, my only best bet on the card on Friday, the second day of the Grand National meeting. And then the last day of the entire Aintree meeting this weekend, I got 2 races to touch on that I really like. The first of which is in a novice chase at the beginning of the card in Salvatore Mundi for Paul Town and Willie Mullins. I think he could be my nap for the entire week at Aintree this upcoming weekend, guys. He runs in the Maghurl Novices Chase over 2 miles. I think he's tailor-made for it. He skipped Cheltenham to potentially run in this, so I think the lot of prize money will enhance the fact that he's coming here. And I think he'll absolutely rout them again. He won over hurdles here last season, beating Romeo Coolio. That form is quite good. I think he'll win this Maghurl Novices Chase on Saturday. And I will have 2 stabs in the big one. The Grand National at 4 o'clock. The Randox Grand National Handicap Chase at 4 o'clock on Saturday. I'm going to side with the favourite for now, and Aya Maximus. I think he's 6-1, maybe 13-2 at the moment. I'm going to side with him as one of my main selections. A 10-year-old who will hopefully be ridden by Paul Town and come the day for Willie Mullins. Finished second in this race last year, won it the year before. I think he's the best horse in this race at the moment, guys. So I'm going to side with Maximus as my main selection. And my other selections to try and cover up an each way shot in the race will be number 16 in the list. In the list at the moment, a 14-1 price at the moment. It's going to be Oscar's Brother again for JP McManus for the trainer Connor King, who will notoriously have his brother Daniel King as the jockey. I think he's been such a progressive individual this year. Finished 4th in the Brown Advisor at Cheltenham, of course. Has won 3 races prior to that. He's so versatile ground-wise. I think he's trip-wise, the further he goes, the better he'll be. and I think he's a very underrated type in this race. Not saying he's going to win, but I think he's got the class to finish in the places. They may pay, who knows, 8 places come the day. I'll take a few of those places myself, and Oscar's brother will be my each-way shot in the National to finish, hopefully, being the winner of the big one in I Am Maximus this year. That's the end of the episode, guys. The Cheltenham Countdown has been back to review the Cheltenham Festival for 2026. I have also given you a preview of some of the big races at the Aintree Grand National meeting this weekend. Obviously, with 2 stabs in the National this year with I Am Maximus and Oscar's brother. Hopefully, they can come in to maybe give me a winner. Put in the comments your selection. I want to know your 2026 Grand National selection this weekend, guys. Who would you think will win the big one? And we'll come back and review it all after this weekend's races. I will try and be back as well for one more meeting this year before the jump turf season comes to a conclusion in the Punchestown May Festival in Ireland. I really want to preview that meeting because there's a lot of stars on show again at that particular meeting. But for now, that is it from the Cheltenham Countdown for this upcoming week. If you have enjoyed this video, thanks for watching. Feel free to share, give it a like, give it a comment, and subscribe to the channel, guys. I will be back next year as well for another podcast season on this channel with some exciting stable tours in line that I'm really, really excited to give to you, and some more previews, anti-post tapes, a lot, building up to the 2027 Cheltenham Festival. The countdown is on, as we always say on this channel. The countdown is on for next year's Cheltenham Festival. But for now, this is it. Thanks for watching.